y'all? So in this video, we're going to talk about this article within the Wall Street Journal where it's bringing up the narrative that Kevin Feige was stretched entirely too thin, and that is why after Endgame, the dip in Marvel content started to take place. Let's check it out.
Hey, make sure you subscribe to my page. I'm trying to grow over here.
First, I want to start this video off with, I don't have a big problem with Kevin Feige. I actually like him. I think he has been the Dennis Rodman of the movie industry. When people really think he's Phil Jackson, people really think Kevin Feige is like Phil, this well thought out coach who keeps winning championships. I consider Kevin Feige more so Dennis Rodman. Basketball fans, you ever heard of a garbage man? That's someone who can take something that's a mess or falling apart and they're able to save the play. Dennis Rodman would throw his body on the floor to save plays on a consistent basis. The MCU has been this garbage dump since its inception. And when I say garbage dump, I mean it's just a studio that's full of things scattered all over the place. And Kevin Feige is the garbage man who comes in, cleans it up at the buzzer, and has been able to put out projects that people have enjoyed for the most part. And he's made Marvel Studios one of the greatest studios of all time. There is a specific reason Marvel has reshoots built into their culture, because they know Kevin Feige is the garbage man. He comes in, cleans up what doesn't look right, feels right, things that he considers garbage, and he fixes it. Now, how this studio has been able to operate like this for 10 to 20 years has been the most fascinating thing in movie history to me. People really feel like Marvel has been operating with a plan since it started, and that's so far from the truth. They never knew where they were going. They were figuring this thing out as it went. And listen, don't argue with me, all right? I know this for a factimony. Executives were about to have a fist fight over the RDJ casting in Iron Man. And the filming of that movie was such a disaster. The drama on the Iron Man set was so crazy, bro. And when the movie comes out, wow, it's magic. Everybody is surprised. And that is how they have been operating since Iron Man 1. So the MCU has always been a disaster behind the scenes. This isn't new. They've just been able to put out solid products in the midst of chaos on these sets. Now, we're going to fast forward to this article with this narrative that Kevin Feige was stretched too thin, and that is why the studio is not seeing the success it previously saw. Kevin Feige sat down and told his people that watching Marvel content in Phase 4 and 5 is starting to feel like homework, and that's the problem. No. That is not the problem. The problem is you guys didn't have a plan after Endgame. That's the problem. And I've been saying it for years. And it literally says it in this article that soon after Endgame, that's when they started to create a plan for the next phases. I've been telling people for so long they never had a plan. That's how Jonathan Majors became Kang at the last minute. That's what we were previously talking about. They didn't have a plan after Endgame. Like, what? How can you not already have a plan in place when you knew how Endgame ended? You know why they didn't have a plan in place? It's because they never had plans. That is why, to me, this company deserves way more praise that it gets for how they've made it this far just freestyling things. It's amazing. Then Feige said, well, Disney rolled out Disney Plus and we had to figure out how to produce so much content to satisfy Disney. Cool. So he's blaming Disney for forcing them to create content for Disney Plus, not realizing that when WandaVision, Loki, and Falcon and the Winter Soldier came out, we was cool. We was happy. Disney Plus started to become a problem when us fans realized, okay, y'all are creating these shows, but it's not connecting to anything. Y'all have trained us on continuity, so if I'm gonna sit down and watch Moon Knight, I would like to see Moon Knight maybe in the next Spider-Man movie. I would like to see Moon Knight maybe in Hawkeye, but no, y'all start rolling these shows out that connected to nothing. WandaVision is probably the only show that is connected fully and wholeheartedly because WandaVision connects to Multiverse of Madness, and that spins into Agatha's show, and now Vision has a show coming out. But guess what? Y'all didn't put Wanda in Agatha's show. So people are looking around like, okay, like, what's going on? And y'all probably not gonna put Billy in Vision show. So why are we gonna watch that? What's the point of watching a Vision Quest show? So the problem isn't you had to spit out content for Disney Plus. The problem is us main Marvel heads felt like, okay, this means nothing. It's not connected. Why am I watching this? Then we're getting the excuse once again that Kevin Feige was stretched too thin to come up and do his normal garbage man cleanup duties. And that bothers me. That is such a bad narrative coming from a leader because listen, I've managed a lot of teams and a lot of projects in my life. You as a leader should be able to leave, go on vacation, and your team should be fully operational without needing you to micromanage if the product is good or not. The problem is, once again, there was no plan and there was no connectivity. So everybody on these projects are not talking to each other because you, Kevin Feige, you require secrecy. For example, what I would have done if I was the boss, I would have sat down with the WandaVision team, Doctor Strange team, Loki team, Ant-Man team. We all in one room together. And I would say, listen, y'all, hey, this is the overall plan. All right. I want y'all to come up with y'all individual stories. These are the characters you can use. These are the characters you can't use. These are my assistant managers. Y'all points of contact. This is the budget. Y'all go to work. Okay. Y'all then get up, go over there, sit down, talk to each other, come up with a story that connects to each other, but also has the ability to stand on its own. Because once again, the end game is going to be Kang the Conqueror. So y'all figure that out. I'm going to give y'all a baseline of what I think it should be, and y'all just work within those reins, okay? He didn't do that. He told everybody, make your own stories, don't talk to nobody else. And then he wanted to come in once everything was done and start changing things. So the people on WandaVision had no idea what Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness was doing. And the Multiverse of Madness people, they didn't know what was going on with WandaVision. I'm almost sure things were probably okay on most of these projects until he started putting his hands on them. The WandaVision finale was changed. The Quantumania ending was changed. Secret Invasion was changed. There was a complete overhaul on the Marvels and Brave New World. The products that he didn't really touch were pretty good, okay? X-Men 97, Shang-Chi, Wakanda Forever, the projects where he kind of let the minorities just do their thing and he didn't have a lot of input on them, those came out pretty good. And Feige saying he stretched too thin just bothers me so bad because when the projects that didn't do so well, the creatives got the blame. They blamed Jonathan Majors for Quantumania not doing well. They blamed Nia DaCosta for the Marvels not doing well. Even though y'all went in and changed her whole movie around. And Blade, I'm so glad they brought Blade up in the article. In the article, it said, Marvel decided the script for its vampire movie Blade wasn't good enough and halted production in 2023 while equipment was being shipped to sound stages in Atlanta. Let me tell y'all something. Things that I heard about Blade, and I want to preface this with anybody that follows me on Twitter, y'all see that me and Bo DeMaio are acquainted, okay? The things I heard about Blade was before I even met Bo DeMaio. So I don't want people to feel like the information that I know about Blade came specifically from him because it didn't. What I heard without going into too much detail right now is it just boiled down to y'all didn't want to make a real Blade movie, which is crazy to me. Y'all made Multiverse of Madness. The movie almost made $1 billion. That film is about Wanda killing indiscriminately, violently, but y'all was scared to make a Blade movie? It's so disrespectful that Blade was announced over 6 years ago and y'all can't get it off of the ground. And it may never get off of the ground. Ryan Coogler finished Wakanda Forever in Atlanta, looked at the cotton fields in Georgia, went back to Oakland, wrote a vampire movie based on the Jim Crow era, pitched it, sold it, cast, filmed, and wrapped in 8 months. You can get things like that done when you have a plan. So this whole article paints Kevin Feige as being this leader who was pulled in so many different directions. He was so stressed out, he just couldn't handle the workload. No. The problem isn't you being stretched too thin. You can't lead a team of people when there's no plan and they have to keep running back and forth to you to get things approved when they should already know ahead of time what the plan is, where we're going, what the budget is, what characters are off limits. And I keep saying the failure in phase 4 and 5 is y'all didn't have a plan because it's the truth. And y'all now realize how detrimental that is. So in this article, they say Kevin Feige has a 10-year plan for X-Men. Hopefully, this is a fresh start for him. Get you some assistant managers, executive producers who can help you manage everything. Find creatives who love to tell stories. If there's a project that may be controversial or has a small niche, give it a small budget. Roll the dice. If it fails, cool. We ain't spent a lot of money on it. But don't stop taking chances on things because you're hitting these roadblocks. Keep making the content. And once and for all, I would like to hear Kevin Feige just take some accountability that y'all didn't have a plan. You were stretched too thin because nobody knew what was going on. Yeah. That's the reality of it. And that's my rant for today. If y'all made it to the end, was I too harsh on Feige? Because I actually like him. Or do you think he simply just lacks accountability? Leave your comments below. Thanks for hanging out with me. Peace.